On what's new, big news for parents as kids are out of school for the academic year. The plan to keep them learning from home and what school could look like in the fall. Fund running dry. While some big businesses get relief from the government, local businesses say they can't get a dime.
I'm a fighter and I cannot give up, so that's not even an option. We're gonna pull through somehow.
Opening too soon. It's a debate raging nationally that's hitting close to home.
We swear on our lives that we will protect ourselves and our customers.
We talk to people on both sides of the debate as concerns of a second wave start to rise. Plus, taking care of your mental health, how COVID-19 is having an impact on your mental health, and things you can do to stay positive. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Happy Monday, everybody. I certainly hope the sunshine helped you as much as it helped me. Betsy's off today. I'm Jay Crawford, still working from home into week 5 now. Same for Sara Shookman. Sara, it's incredible how sunshine can change your outlook on everything.
Particularly on a Monday, Jay. I think this is what we all needed after those snowy days we dealt with last week, to be able to, even if you aren't getting outside, which I hope you are, to look outside and feel a little of that warmth and think spring really is coming here to Ohio once again. Good to be with you and fill in for Betsy today. Now, during the show tonight, we are expecting to hear from President Trump. He's going to give us his daily briefing on the coronavirus from Washington. That's expected sometime around 5:30. So as soon as he begins, we will bring it to you. Jay?
Well, Sara, we like to start every day by giving you the headlines. The big one today, the governor answered the question on the minds of all parents, and that is, will the kids be going back to school this academic year?
For the remainder of this school year, our young people will continue to go to school remotely.
So there it is. Schools are closed until at least next fall. Kids have been learning from home since March 16th. The governor cited a number of reasons for his decision, including the virus still sticking around. Right now, no decision has been made yet on what will happen in the fall. Our Tiffany Tarpley has more on this decision and what the future of schools could look like.
After speaking with school leaders across the state, Governor Mike DeWine says it just wouldn't be right to go back to in-person learning with only days left in the school year. So now the big question is, what's next?
Parents, teachers, administrators are anxious for a decision about the fall, but we are simply not in a position yet to make that decision.
When it comes to the future, Governor DeWine says he's leaving that in the hands of individual school districts with guidance from the state. Viruses easily spread in schools. We see it during flu season. Students, teachers, staff, and even their families are affected, and some will be at higher risk for severe symptoms. The superintendent of Parma City Schools tells me part of their plan is to include a dramatic increase in hand sanitizing stations, and they're discussing what is considered essential and what they could eliminate so they can be in a better position to practice social distancing.
Do seniors who are close to graduating, can they take a couple classes online? Is that, the type of model that we might want to pursue? These are all conversations we're going to have going forward.
The Ohio Federation of Teachers, which represents Cleveland Metropolitan School District educators, among others, says there needs to be certain guidelines in place before in-person instruction can begin again. For example, a decrease in the number of COVID-19 cases and an increase of personal protective equipment like masks. Tiffany Tarpley, 3 News.
Well, now on your feed at 5, one of the biggest debates right now, and somewhat related to that school discussion, is whether or not government, or governors rather, around the country should be reopening those states and taking away the stay-at-home orders we've been under. We asked you on Twitter, do you think that Governor DeWine should end the stay-at-home order and allow businesses to reopen? Right now, most of you are saying no. Brandon Simmons explains the debate at hand.
Across the country and right here in Ohio, there's been a divide of sorts between those who think we need to reopen the economy quickly and those who say that May 1st date is too soon to get back to normal. Health officials and the governor have told us that reopening the state will be a gradual process and not all at once. But for some people, waiting even longer to reopen is not really an option. We've seen the lines at food banks grow longer as people who have never needed to turn to a food bank go to them for the first time since money is running out at home. And even more specifically, those who are self-employed, including barbers and beauticians, say they need income now more than ever.
Our money is usually day by day, and from time to time we don't have build-ups at vacation pay, sick leave and all that, so we're directly dependent upon what we do basically day by day.
In order for you to survive, you need people in those chairs.
Yes, I do.
This collective group of licensed barbers and beauticians from all over Northeast Ohio have submitted guidelines to the state outlining how their industry can operate safely if they're given the green light. Now they're just waiting for a response from state officials. Now, a joint poll conducted by NBC and the Wall Street Journal shows that the country truly is divided on the issue, with 60% of people saying they would rather keep those stay-at-home orders in place to help fight coronavirus. But if you're one of those living without a paycheck, you may think opening is well worth the risk. I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
Thanks, Brandon. And it's not just Ohio. Many states are starting to open back up. North Carolina and Florida have reopened some of their beaches. South Carolina is looking to do the same this week and reopening retail stores there as well. Even a few farmers markets in Seattle are back up and running.
Sarah, Governor DeWine's daily press briefing had to be moved today because of safety concerns. Dozens of people marched outside the State House to pressure Governor DeWine to lift his stay-at-home order and let people start working again. Governor DeWine responded saying he has full respect for protesters, but he wants them to be safe. He also adds he wants to make sure they're practicing safe social distancing. Now, not only is the federal government trying to help the millions of people recently laid off, it's also trying to help the businesses that employed them. Mark Namick reports those efforts have fallen way short and is generating lots of controversy.
Small businesses like this, they're the little engines that drive the big economy, and they've turned to the government for help, but they're feeling left out. Hundreds of millions of dollars from the recently passed stimulus bill was supposed to be available to mom and pop shops, restaurants, and small businesses forced to close because of the coronavirus pandemic. The money already gone, leaving many businesses begging for help and crying foul as many mid-sized companies and fast food chains, such as Shake Shack, gobbled up tens of millions of dollars. That has family-run businesses such as Cleveland Liquidation in Middleburg Heights worried about their future.
There was no more money left, so we're just all here trying to survive and just really not getting the funding and the assistance that we really need. Entrepreneurs are fighters and they're creative, and we're all trying to adapt to the times, but creativity is only going to carry us so far. We do have a website, so we have been trying to do online orders from our website and then scheduling pickups for people to just drive by, and we just put in the trunk for them. So that hopefully that will get us through. We'll definitely have some battle wounds, but really counting on it, just the local support and that people are going to shop small.
Now, Amy's been writing local lawmakers asking for help but hasn't heard anything back. And Congress is considering making more money available to small businesses. But the line for that is already long. Mark Namick, 3 News.
And it is important to note that Shake Shack did give back the money it got from the CARES Act after this controversy came out, so we'll see. Now, let's talk groceries. The FDA is reiterating you do not have to wipe down every food item that you buy when you're at the grocery store. It tweeted saying, quote, "We want to assure you there is currently no evidence of human or animal food or food packaging being associated with transmission of COVID-19. However, the FDA does say when you go to the grocery store, make sure you take a list and try to buy 1 to 2 weeks worth of groceries at a time so you can minimize those trips. Also, wear your face mask and wipe down the handles of those shopping carts." Well, now it's time to check in with Russ Mitchell back at the WKYC studios for tonight's top headlines. Hi, partner. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, partner. It's good to see you. Good afternoon to everyone at home. We have video today of that crash during a police chase in Highland Heights over the weekend. Watch the left side of your screen here. Willoughby Hills police were chasing the driver of a Corvette on Saturday after clocking him going 117 miles an hour in a 60 zone. As the driver exited 271, as you see there at Wilson Mills Road, he crashed into a signal control box, causing his car to burst into flames. The driver was hospitalized, a passenger killed, an officer also treated for burns on his hands. Time is running out if you want to vote in Ohio's primary election. You have until noon on April 25th. That is this Saturday to request a vote by mail ballot. Those ballots have to be postmarked on or before April 27th if you want them to be counted. And the Rite Aid store on State Road in Parma is now doing self-swab nasal tests for COVID-19. You can only be tested if you meet the CDC guidelines, and you have to pre-register on the company's website. Sarah, that is all at 5 o'clock. I'll see you at 5:30.
Okay, thanks. We'll talk to you soon, Russ. So we have seen these before, but they haven't gotten old yet. An opera singer in California set up on her front porch there and gave her neighbors a performance. She drew quite a crowd. People stood outside listening to her beautiful voice. And she says she's going to do this every Sunday at noon until the quarantine is over. Well, new at 5, some people are concerned there could be a second wave of the coronavirus still to come. We will connect the dots for you. And Stephanie, what's clicking in Cleveland?
Sarah, Browns general manager Andrew Berry is talking strategy for this week's NFL draft. We'll tell you what he has to say about our needs here in Cleveland. Now let's check in with Matt Wins at his house for a peek at the weather forecast. Hi, Matt.
Oh, what? Stephanie, what? Oh, the weather. Yeah, it's sunny. It's beautiful outside. Back to you. Oh, the rest of the week? Yeah, that's a different story. We'll bring you the forecast coming up.
Welcome back to What's New. A lot of people want to know what will happen with the coronavirus after the first wave of infection dies down. Everything from reopening the economy to traveling is very much in question. But one of the biggest questions is, will we see a second wave? And what will that mean for the United States? We're connecting the dots.
As we are focused on the effects of the coronavirus pandemic right now, many scientists who study viruses are worried about the second wave of COVID-19. So what would that look like? Let's connect the dots. There are a lot of factors that could determine what a second or even a third wave of this coronavirus would look like. One of the biggest questions is immunity. Because this is such a new virus, we don't know right now how immunity will work. For instance, people who contract mumps are immune for life. For some types of the common cold, it only lasts about a year. If there is some immunity with COVID-19, if and when it comes back, the areas already hit hard will likely be spared, so cities on the coast like New York and Los Angeles would not see large outbreaks. According to the Mayo Clinic, you would expect the middle of America to become the new hotspot. The other factor is whether this coronavirus is seasonal, like the flu. If it behaves like influenza, it could slow down during the summer, then re-emerge in the fall. That's what happened with the Spanish flu in 1918, with devastating results in the U.S. Connecting the dots, I'm Marcelino Benito.
Very interesting. Matt Wentz joins us now with weather with his kids from home. Matt, it's become a staple for me. Let me start by saying a heartfelt thank you for the sunshine that we saw today. I think we all needed it. And because of that, your weather word of the day is grateful, as in we are eternally grateful for that sunshine.
Got it, Jay. You know, I'm eternally grateful as well. And you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast what a difference it makes. I mean, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. This time of year, if we can squeak out a sun-filled day, especially with not a cloud in the sky that we've had today, it's just a world of difference. And these kids have all sorts of energy. It's like Emmy had her first cup of coffee today. Emmy, you flying your kite, huh? That's great. She thinks flying the kite is pulling it along. We'll teach her eventually, but she's doing great. That's so pretty. Honey, why don't you try to do 10 laps while I do the forecast, okay? 10. Just count them as you go by. Okay, fantastic. All right, a lot of you are sneezing out there, so I've been asked to do the pollen forecasts. I've gotten a lot of tweets and Facebook messages over, hey, is it pollen? What's going on? Here's your sneezecast tomorrow. We've got moderate levels of tree and grass pollen around here. Just because you can't see it floating through the sky, some of that comes out of a microscopic, comes out before things start to bud, and they are going across northeast Ohio. Ragweed is none, and then mold is in the low category. So a lot of allergy sufferers out there, and that is due to the tree and the grass pollen. Temperatures, though, it's a different story up by the lakeshore. As we mentioned last night, if you joined me with that lake breeze, we're in the 40s. You get outside of that, Akron over towards Ashland, down towards Carrollton, we're sitting up near 60, a beautiful afternoon. And that warm air is not far off. Look, we're near 70 in Louisville, St. Louis, 70s as you get towards the areas of the Midwest. Problem is, we're going to be flirting with that over the next week or so. It's not quite going to get here. And the reason why is we've got a lot of systems lined up like this. There's a system heading out of areas of the northern Great Lakes. This thing is flying down to the south. It's a reinforcing shot of cold air, and that's going to bring some gusty showers in here overnight tonight. This will be mainly towards the daybreak hour, but you can see some of the clouds increasing already across areas of Wisconsin and some showers moving their way southeast very quickly. We've got a breezy, mild night. Temperatures will hold. You can be very grateful for temperatures in the 50s tonight, but that rain will eventually work its way back in. And notice the wind's really starting to pick up towards daybreak as well as that frontal boundary arrives. So let's go with your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. We're in the 50s tonight. It's going to stay right where it's at near the lakeshore. It'll cool down just a little bit down towards Akron. But here comes our line of gusty showers. And what do I mean by gusty showers? I think we could have wind gusts 30, 40 miles per hour as this front moves through with doses some heavy rainfall. That will be 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Here's your wake-up hour tomorrow, 7, 8 o'clock. Yeah, that blue stuff on there, Jay, is some snow. We're going to have perhaps some wet flakes mixing in tomorrow. It's just going to be kind of a raw Tuesday around here with a rain-snow mix early. Temperatures are going to hold near 40 all day with a brisk northwest wind. What we will squeak out is some sunshine as we go latter half of your Tuesday with some lake effect snow showers perhaps out in the snow belt. I'm not anticipating any accumulation out of this, so let's not even talk about that. That sets us up for a cold start on Wednesday morning, and and then a little rain-snow mix from there. So your get outside forecast for tomorrow, I've got us at a 5 out of 10, breezy and colder. We will see that sun later in the day. So there's that. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. Look at the climb, though, that we take throughout the week. We do have some rain chances on Wednesday, better chances on Thursday, and then another system this weekend will work in here and kind of drop our temperatures again on Sunday, Monday. But, Jay, no big warm-ups from here, but no huge cool-downs either. So we'll take what we can get this time of year.
I keep hearing you guys say, don't worry, it's normal for there to be snow in April. Matt, it's not normal for there to be snow in May. That's where I draw the line.
No. I've already drawn the line, Jay. We're beyond this. We don't need any more snow. We average 60 degrees now, so let's get there, shall we?
Please, yes. Matt, thank you very much. Well, the NBA playoffs, sports fans will tell you, were supposed to start Saturday night. Obviously, that didn't happen. In fact, right now, we don't know when and if the playoffs for the NBA will even happen. But basketball fans got the next best thing last night. ESPN began airing its 10-part documentary on Michael Jordan. They aired parts 1 and 2 last night. It all focuses on the last season Jordan played with the Chicago Bulls. It's called Last Dance because going into that 97-98 season, the Bulls had already announced it would be Phil Jackson's last as head coach, and Jordan had said publicly he would not play for anyone but Jackson in Chicago. Now, the Bulls obviously won that 6th title, and management broke up the team afterwards, but the backstory to all of that is at the heart of this documentary, and it is riveting. Jordan is incredibly transparent, talking about things that he has never discussed publicly. But the fascinating story about this documentary is actually how it came to be. The head of NBA entertainment at the time, Adam Silver, who is now the NBA commissioner, convinced the Bulls and Jordan that the league should really document everything that happened in that last season that Jordan was in Chicago. But to get Jordan to agree to that, Silver made a deal with him. He told Michael, we'll shoot all the film, but no film ever gets made unless you agree to it. He essentially gave him control of any future project. And with that, the film sat for more than 2 decades in NBA vaults. MJ finally decided to give his approval. When did he do it? Cleveland fans will find this interesting. He did it on the same day the Cavs held their championship victory parade in 2016. The documentary is one for the ages. It is a must-watch for all sports fans. It is terrific. Well, it's the big talk across Ohio. Students will not be going back to school, at least not until the fall. Stephanie Haney has reaction from teachers and parents. It's all straight ahead. Clicking in Cleveland is next when What's New comes right back.
Yep.
Welcome back. Time now to see what is clicking in Cleveland with our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, I think a lot of people are certainly reacting tonight to Governor DeWine's decision to keep schools closed through the end of the year.
You are absolutely right about Sarah. It's hitting home for a lot of people, especially with his announcement that this could very well go into the fall, saying that there would be some kind of a mix between at home and in-person learning potentially in the fall. So first up, we'll take a look at one of the students said. The students are taking it particularly rough, saying that they didn't get a chance at their last moments in school. And it might not have been much, but for them, it was absolutely everything. And the teachers are feeling it too. You know, people may joke about it being a break for them, not having their students in the room with them, but this teacher would gladly entertain their classes in person over all the extra hoops involved in distance learning. We also have another teacher saying, yes, we need to stay safe, but those track meets and those students rolling their eyes at the jokes in the classroom will definitely be missed. But let's not forget, there are those who did not want schools to reopen unless we have mass COVID-19 testing. And today, those people are satisfied with this move. All right, let's move on to the distraction that we all need, professional football. And there are a lot of people saying that what we need to do here in Cleveland is we need to beef up that offensive line so we can protect the people that score the touchdowns. So General Manager Andrew Berry talked today about how those needs fall in line with our draft for this week's NFL draft.
The draft is more about maximizing the amount of talent, the long-term talent on your team, as opposed to filling needs.
So he said very few rookies come in and play at Pro Bowl caliber their rookie year. So basically he's making the point that the draft is about the long game. And Berry says looking at our needs is the wrong focus for the draft. So coming up this week, the Browns have the number 10 pick in the draft. That kicks off on Thursday, Sarah. So we will see how that strategy plays out in real life very soon.
It is going to be really different just to watch it all as it's virtual this year. And even the Browns staff themselves, the managers kind of spread out all over. We know Coach Stefanski still at home in Minnesota as this goes on. So we will see, but I'm sure Browns fans will be no less engaged as it all goes on. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yes.
Well, still ahead on What's New, more testing tonight. We dig into the shortages that are slowing down this process, what Ohio is doing to make up for the shortfall. And spring cleanup, how to trim your trees, bushes, and shrubs and get your landscape ready to grow. And state of mind. A lot of people are struggling right now, both with physical and emotional health, resources that can help, and some simple things you can do every day to cope.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back to What's New. Thanks so much for spending time with us on this sunny and beautiful Monday. I'm Jay Crawford. Sara Shookman is in for Betsy today. And Sara, I haven't seen you in a while, and I know your due date is fast approaching. How are you feeling? Is everything okay?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, baby's staying right where he or she is supposed to at this point. So we're just hanging in there, getting a little more uncomfortable, not going to lie, but I think that's kind of par for the course at this point in the pregnancy. So thank you for asking.
Close.
Thinking of
Absolutely.
you and your daughter as well. She and I are very close in dates. Jay, we've got a great Three Heroes story to share with you on this Monday night. This is a virtual father-daughter dance with third graders in Chardon. Check it out. Maybe you can think back to some of those that you went to with Kristen. Well, fathers and daughters from Munson Elementary in Chardon got together for a virtual dance over the weekend after their scheduled event was canceled. Some families went all out. They even made tickets, dressed up, decorated the living room for the party. The virtual dance replaced the annual father-daughter dance that was supposed to take place Saturday. Keep sending us your Three Heroes stories. You can text them to us again at 216-344-3300.
Sara, I absolutely remember the first daddy-daughter dance, and I can honestly say I always looked at that as her first date, and I was glad that it was with me, and I got to be there, and we had a marvelous time. It's still one of my favorite memories with Kirsten and I, and I'm so glad that the fathers and daughters didn't miss out on that this year. It wasn't the same, but it's still special nonetheless. Sara, thank you very much. Let's get to the top coronavirus headlines at this hour right now. Governor Mike DeWine today saying kids will not return to school this year. Instead, they will continue distance learning. He said safety is a big reason why he's keeping the schools closed. They've been closed going all the way back to March 16th now. No decision has yet been made on what will happen in the fall. According to the New York Times, a state prison in Ohio is the largest reported source of coronavirus infections in the entire United States. At least 1,828 prisoners at the Marion Correctional Institution prison have tested positive. That's nearly 3/4 of the prison's total population. Today, Governor DeWine said the reason we're seeing the number of cases increase inside the prisons is because they are now doing mass testing. It is time for our top talker this hour. Over the weekend, Governor DeWine went on Meet the Press and he openly asked the FDA to help get components that are desperately needed for testing of suspected cases of the coronavirus. Later, he said that the FDA called him with what he called promising news. And today we learned exactly what that was and what the state is doing to help itself. Here's senior health correspondent Monica Robbins.
We saw a big jump in case numbers over the weekend because of increased testing in prisons. Another concern is Dr. Acton said they noticed a large percentage of positive cases had no symptoms, which drives home the point why more testing is even more important and why the governor called on the FDA to help. The problem nationwide is a shortage of what's known as reagent. It's a solution needed in the lab to extract the RNA of the virus. That's how you can detect whether or not someone has COVID. The FDA told the governor that several companies are working on creating more, and there's hope approval will come soon. Meanwhile, Ohio has to help itself. The latest is getting rid of the backlog of tests at 2 independent labs.
One thing we did today was we were saying directly send to our labs. Don't use LabCorp before because they were very, very behind, but they've caught up, they tell us. So we've loosened that our hospitals can send directly to LabCorp and Quest and the other private labs now, and we're going to closely monitor that.
Dr. Acton says another plan is when hotspots happen, they'll send in quick testing teams and then use labs across the state to run the tests instead of taxing just one. But getting a solid supply of reagent is key to getting more people tested and more people back to work. Monica Robbins, 3 News.
It It is Money Monday now, and with the uncertainty of the economy, many people are pulling back on their spending. In fact, a bank rate survey shows now that more than half of Americans are dialing back their budgets at this point. It is not all bad news, though, when it comes to investing. There, people are staying the course.
Despite a 30% drop in the stock market, about 2/3 of those that have investment accounts did not do anything with their stock-based investments.
And again, that is the smart long-term move here. Also, if you are worried about your credit score, there's a plan to protect it. Credit bureaus have launched a crisis response plan. It will let lenders know you've been affected by COVID-19 and help protect your score. Time now to get a check on the other top headlines of the evening. Russ Mitchell joins us from the studio. Hi, Russ.
Hello there, Sarah. Here's what's happening. We still do not know the motive behind Canada's worst mass shooting ever. At least 18 were killed, including a policeman, when a gunman went on a 12-hour rampage in Nova Scotia. He also died in that attack. Police say it does not appear he knew his victims. For weeks now, there have been growing concerns that a lab in China was the source of the coronavirus, not a food market. Now that lab is telling Chinese state television that's not true, and no one connected to the lab was ever infected. The U.S. intelligence community says it will continue to investigate. And one of the biggest groups affected by the closing of schools, the high school seniors, of course. So to honor them, tonight at 8:20 for 20 minutes and 20 seconds, see, 2020. Some schools across Northeast Ohio will light up their stadiums. Should be quite an evening across the area, Sarah. It's too bad those folks aren't going to be able to walk and have the prom and all that good stuff.
You think of all of those really important moments from the end of your senior year of high school and the memories they create. I really am feeling for those students tonight, but This will be a special one, lighting up those stadiums and seeing the support even in a socially distanced way.
And they will have quite a story for their kids down the road.
That is true, too. Thanks, Russ.
See ya.
Well, time now for your pop break. A big payday for coronavirus relief and a wedding surprise. Tiffany Haney has more.
In case you missed it, this weekend's One World Together at Home concert raised almost $128 million for the World Health Organization by bringing together music's biggest names.
I'm still standing after all this time.
Smile, though your heart is breaking. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come.
Hosted by the Kings of Late Night, the money raised through donations and corporate partnerships will help support healthcare workers fighting the coronavirus pandemic. This is kind of hard to believe, but Zoom weddings are a thing now, and are now officially legally recognized in the state of New York. Over in the UK, a nurse and her groom had their virtual wedding crashed in the best way possible by Ellie Goulding.
You're both heroes, and we all love you.
Love me like you do. Touch me like you do.
Now the newlyweds are paying it forward and using all the attention on their big day to ask people to donate to the National Health Service's Together charities. John Krasinski's YouTube show, Some Good News, is really keeping the hits coming. At his virtual prom on Friday night, the Jonas Brothers rolled in with a surprise show. And while he's definitely no Matt Wentz, look who showed up to do the weather.
Brad, how's it looking out there? Looks, pretty good.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Brad has done lots of funny weather bits for the Jim Jeffries show on Comedy Central, and Jim said that apparently Brad would sometimes just shoot videos on his phone and text him to him in the middle of the night, Sarah. But I think that we can all agree Brad has nothing on Emmy and River, and he could probably use some tips from our Wentz on getting to the specifics.
You are absolutely right, Stephanie. I think that Matt has a few things he could teach Brad to, brush up on his weather game. Thank you for that pop break. Well, new at 5, we will be sharing some tips to help you get your landscape ready for spring. And Matt, here's your chance. Show us your Brad Pitt moves.
Yeah, margarita. Yeah, just bring it over here. Oh, hey there, Sarah. Just enjoying the backyard and the sunshine this afternoon. How long does this last, though? I think that's on everyone's mind. We'll answer that question coming up.
So we hope to have a vote.
President Trump has made his way to the podium for his daily coronavirus press briefing. Let's listen in.
Oil that you've been seeing, it's at a level that's very interesting to a lot of people. We're filling up our national petroleum reserves, the strategic reserves, and we're looking to put as much as 75 million barrels into the reserves themselves. That would top it out. That would be first time in a long time it's been topped out. We'd get it for the right price. We're also pushing for the deal to include an additional $75 billion, our deal that we're talking about, $75 billion for hospitals and other healthcare providers. Many providers and their employees have taken a huge financial hit in recent weeks, and visits, elective procedures, surgeries, et cetera, were canceled. We think that they can all get back online. They'll get it done. The hospitals have really been fantastic. The hospitals, they've stepped up to the plate. They've really done a great job. We appreciate it so much. For areas less affected by the virus, we've issued new recommendations about how to safely resume elective treatments. HHS has also distributed the first $30 billion in direct payments to 1 million healthcare providers across the country. We've also invested $1.4 billion in community health centers to ensure our most vulnerable communities, including many African American and Hispanic American communities, have access to the services and testing that they need. Earlier today, Vice President Pence spoke with governors from all 50 states about our unified effort to defeat the virus. He had a great call. It was a great call, very positive in, I'd say, every way. Prior to the call, we provided each governor with a list of the names, addresses, and phone numbers of the labs where they can find additional testing capacity within their states. Many, many labs. We're providing you with a list. We'll show it to you now. If you need it, we'll give you the details. But hundreds and hundreds of labs are ready, willing, and able. Some of the governors, like, as an example, the governor from Maryland didn't really understand the list. He didn't understand too much about what was going on. So now I think he'll be able to do that. It's pretty simple. But they have tremendous capacity, and we hope to be able to help him out. We'll work with them and work with all of the governors. Similar to the situation with ventilators, states need to assess their complete inventory of available capacity. Some states have far more capacity than they actually understand, and it is a complex subject, but some of the governors didn't understand it. The governor, as an example, Pritzker from Illinois, did not understand his capacity. Not simply ask the federal government to provide unlimited support. I mean, you have to take the support where you have it, but we are there to stand with the governors and to help the governors, and that's what we're doing. And they have a tremendous capacity that we've already built up, and you'll be seeing that. We're going to be introducing a couple of the folks in a little while to talk about it. I want to draw your attention to Governor Cuomo's remarks during his press conference today. He said the president is right. The state's testing is up to the states to do, which will implement the tests and logistically coordinate the tests. We have about 300 labs in New York, and they're great labs, actually. And it's my job to coordinate those 300 labs. I think the president's right when he says that the states should lead, and the governors they're getting it together in New York. A lot of good things are happening in New York, and I think the governor's going to come in to see us tomorrow. He's coming to the Oval Office tomorrow afternoon. Andrew is going to be coming in with some of his people, so we look forward to that. Some of the articles that just recently came about, if you remember, and I put out a statement today, for a month it was all ventilator. That's all people could talk about was ventilators. And we did a great job with that. We built a lot of ventilators, to put it mildly. We have so many now that at some point soon we're going to be helping Mexico and Italy and other countries. We'll be sending them ventilators, which they desperately need. They were not in a position to build them themselves. But we have thousands being built. Every state they have the ventilators. If they don't, we have almost 10,000 in our Federal Reserve, our stockpile, as they call it. And we did a great job with the ventilators. Unfortunately, the press doesn't cover it other than the fair press. But so then you say, gee, they need ventilators. We don't need ventilators. And that's under pressure we did that. Nobody that needed a ventilator in this country didn't get one. And a story that just came out, how the media completely blew the Trump ventilator story. I'm sure you'd love to see that. That's by Rich Lowry, respected journalist and person. How the media completely blew the Trump ventilator story, which unfortunately you did. And here's another one that just came out. Kyle Smith, the ventilator shortage that wasn't. Careful. Because we got it fixed.
Watching if you choose over on our website, WKYC.com. We'll continue streaming it there. In the meantime, nice weather gets everyone thinking about springtime cleanup, and that's on the minds of many. Get outside, spend hours in the beautiful sunlight. Today was a good chance. Today we're focusing on landscape bed cleanup. Well, with the weather turning, this is a great opportunity to get outside and stay busy any way we can. Noelle Aiken is here from Petiti Garden Center, and she's going to help us with bed cleanup. Sometimes our mulch beds don't come through the winter so hot, so what do we need to do to get them in shape?
Right, so 3 things we're talking about today. Pruning, for sure. Want to start that as early as you can out there. We're talking about feeding the plants and, of course, cleaning the entire bed.
Where do we start?
Let's start with pruning.
Okay, let's go.
For sure.
So, Noelle, a lot of people have spruce trees. They should be pruned. How often?
Well, really, this time of year, so early spring, you can prune them. Every year, if you'd like to have more of a, a nice shaped tree, you can let them go a little bit more natural. It's really up to you.
Give me some directions. What do I do?
Okay, so spruces grow in candles, so their new growth comes out like a long tip, if you will.
Right.
And you're going to cut right in the middle of the tip.
Okay.
And at that tip, there's a little bud right here, and that bud is actually going to branch out. It's going to produce more growth. So if you want this to, fill in a little bit faster, that's a good thing to do. You can actually take a trimmer if you want to and trim the candles off.
Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to prune these spruces all the way, but now we go on to cleanup.
Yes.
Grasses.
Oh yeah, ornamental grasses, they need to get cut down very, very low. Usually in March, we really like to see them very low to the ground.
Same tool?
Yeah,
now, if you don't have this power tool, you can do this by hand, right?
Absolutely. Hand pruners. Sometimes we suggest tying them up with some twine.
Yeah.
Trying to get the leaves out of your way and then go as low as you could possibly go.
Okay, Noelle, we've pruned, we've cleaned, now we have to feed.
Yes, absolutely. And everything can get fed in the spring. Evergreens, your flowering bulbs, your perennials that are emerging, everything should get fed.
Okay. And you just sprinkle a little bit of this around at the root system of each one?
Yeah, so plant tone is for those plants that lose their leaves. So we call those deciduous plants. And you do a cup about around the drip line, you do a cup per branch width, okay? So the daylily here is about a 1 foot diameter, so we just did 1 cup of plant tone right around the base, and we pulled some mulch away, sprinkled the fertilizer, and then after it gets a little bit of rain, we'll go ahead and we'll put the mulch back around.
Okay, great. Okay. So you put the feed down now, but we really don't need to start thinking about mulch until probably Memorial Day?
Right, so after you're done planting and you're good with the bed, then go ahead and mulch.
That way it gets a nice fresh look most of the summer.
Absolutely.
If you do it too early, it looks terrible by July.
For sure, and it's taking care of your weeds, it's keeping moisture in the soil around the root system, keeping the root system shaded. It's all good.
Great. Okay, Noelle, we've pruned, we've cleaned. Now we're really just kind of sit back and wait, and in May, late May, we'll put down our mulch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Noelle, thank you very much. That was a couple of weeks ago, and everything in the bed is looking marvelous right now. Still to come, coronavirus is having a big impact on people's mental health, what the experts are seeing, and things you can do to keep yourself in a positive space. Stay with us.